Hi everyone, welcome to another weekly vlog. In all honesty, this vlog is going to take a little bit of a different form to my usual vlogs. It has been the case this week that the rain just hasn't stopped and it's really affected my mood, along with a lot of other little personal things going on in the background. The weather has absolutely taken its toll. So I wanted to put together a little video on what I do to beat the blues when they inevitably creep in, because even when you are choosing happy and finding all the positives as much as you can in life, sometimes it just takes over. So there has been a few days where I have not felt my best the last couple of weeks. So this week I decided to pick up the camera and film little things that bring me joy when I am not in the mood to do anything. And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about depression cures, because depression is very different. But if you are feeling a little out of sorts, maybe these things could work for you too. The first thing that I like to do when my mood is a little bit low is journaling. Now, I haven't done this in any particular order, so when you're seeing the clips of my journaling, I have done this on a separate day to the other things. I haven't done all this all in one go. I have paced myself and I have done things slowly because we're allowed to do that. Sometimes we don't have the time to do everything all in one go, and other times it's just nice to be in the moment, and sometimes that means sitting with yourself when you are not in a good mood. But one of the first things I like to do is reach for my journal, and I have been using different things to decorate my journal and then writing in it where I decorated the pages. I will insert a clip of how I've decorated it this time. I've written in it. I don't stick to writing to this journal all the time because I am forgetful. If for whatever reason I've had to tidy up and I've picked it up and put it away, then I might not see it for, I don't know, 3 weeks. But when I do see it and when I do want to, it is there. I put all my thoughts and feelings in there and how my day is going sometimes if I'm a bit more consistent with my writing. And I just try and put things in that I want to remember, whether they're good or they're bad. This week's been difficult in lots of different ways, but not in anything major. So it was nice to be able to put those thoughts and feelings on a page. It feels like a fog has been lifted almost, and a little bit of the weight that lies on your shoulders is no longer there. It doesn't make your problems go away, but I do believe that it's true what they say. A problem shared is a problem halved, and even if you are not sharing it with another human being and you are writing it down, I think it's really therapeutic to do that, and you can make it as colourful as you want, and those little moments can bring you so much joy. They definitely do me. It's kind of like a really easy craft to do, but it's a useful craft as well. So if you're decorating your journal, you're giving yourself a little bit of creative freedom to say what you want, and then be able to look back at it and see something pretty that you have created, as well as the writing that you've put in there. So I think that journaling is such an important part of overcoming certain moods and overcoming situations in your life. And it might not be for everyone, but it's definitely worth a shot, and it's definitely a low cost thing. If you want to do the decorated journals like I do, you don't need to buy stuff. You can save things from magazines or little bits of paper you get through the post. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. If the colours are good, if the pictures are sweet and you enjoy them, why are you not using them? The second thing that I think is really important when you're having a down day or a blue day is to get yourself outside. Now, that's been difficult because it has been very rainy here, and when it is raining, I do not feel like trekking out. But I have a dog and she needs a walk, So why not romanticise the walk? I took Nancy on a walk that we do occasionally but not very often. It's a little more green than my normal walks, but it's very close to where we are, and I find it such a nice little walk to do. Once I've kind of got off the street and kind of into the field, you'll see what I mean with the clip that I've put in. There is just, it's such a beautiful view. If I could kind of magically remove the great big electric pylons that like are dotted through the field, it would be even more perfect. But that field, it's a joy to walk through. And being out in nature, feeling the breeze in your face, maybe even a little bit of the rain, is never a bad thing. It connects you to something bigger than what you are, which gives you a different perspective on what you're thinking and feeling in the moment. So get your walking shoes on and go outside, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Even if you don't have a dog to drag you along, it's worth doing. Make an excuse to walk to your local shop and buy yourself a nice drink or a snack that you don't normally get yourself. Go and get outside, use your feet, and you will feel a little bit better. Like I said, exactly with the journaling, it doesn't fix everything, but it certainly gets you in a different headspace. Number 3 on my list of things to do when you're blue is cooking or baking. And this again might seem obvious for some of us, and also quite an effort for some of us too, because I don't know about you guys, but when I am not feeling myself, I don't want to cook a meal, and I don't necessarily want to spend the effort on making something for myself. But that's the really important thing, to kind of push through that. Okay, you might not want to do it to start with, but if you can rally yourself up enough to make yourself something comforting, whether that's a sweet dish or a savoury dish, then you're giving yourself that effort. And sometimes when you're in a low mood, it's I can't be bothered. But what are you not being bothered with? Because you would be bothered for everybody else. So why not yourself? Cook yourself something or bake something that you enjoy. Normally, I would be the first person to jump up and bake something, but in all honesty, it's so easy to forget about like fueling yourself properly when you're feeling off it. So this week I attempted, and it went wrong, by the way, so do not for any moment think that you have to do this to any particular standard. It's just literally about the effort that you're putting in. I had a real grump with myself this day. I had decided that I was going to make a comforting chicken pie because I had so many different things to use up in the kitchen, and everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. I started out, and it was the same day I'd gone for the walk, so I started out by making a short crust pastry, and I went for the traditional short crust pastry where you do half butter, half lard, and you are supposed to bring it to a dough with enough water to make it form but not sticky. So I had done that, and in an attempt at making a really short crust pastry, I didn't put very much water in it, and it was barely holding together. So in my wisest moment, I wrapped it in cling film, put it in the fridge ready to set, which is what you do with most good pastries. I went for my walk with Nancy, and I came back and I was just about to craft the pie. So I got my pot ready and I chopped my vegetables for the filling, and I was starting to cook the filling. I was filming that, and whilst the vegetables were cooking, sauteing, frying, or whatever you want to call it, I was trying to roll out the pastry for the top of the pie. But because it was so short, it wouldn't stick together properly. So it didn't look great. it was sticking to the board despite it being floured. It was not staying together, so every time I rolled it, it'd stick to the rolling pin, or it stuck to the bench, or when I flipped it over to roll the other side so it was even, it just looked really, I don't know, it looked really flaky, which tastes great, by the way, but it doesn't make it easier to work with. So as I'm trying to roll out the pastry and fight with that element of it, I managed to slightly burn the veg for the chicken pie. So not only did I mess up the pastry, I burnt the vegetables too. It's not my finest moment. So in my head, I was going to be having a really beautifully aesthetic chicken pie that's homemade with traditional short crust pastry and a gorgeous homemade chicken filling, and it didn't look the way I wanted it to. And at the time I was in a real grump with myself, but now kind of sitting back and thinking about it, did it taste good? Yes, absolutely. Did it pull me out of my own headspace? Yes, it did. Have I had a giggle since about everything going wrong? Seeing as yesterday was a day that everything went wrong on. Yes, I did. So, do I regret cooking it? No, absolutely not. So, make a chicken pie and let it all go wrong. That's what I'm saying. Just do it. And I know you might not feel like doing it, but make something that makes you feel good, even if it don't go right, and just laugh about it if it does go wrong. Just make something with your hands that is going to soothe your soul, even if the soul soothing comes from belly laughs after you've burnt a lot of it or made it so badly that it looks like a 3-year-old made it. Number 4 on the list of things to do when you're blue is setting something up you are going to look forward to. Now, I've got a lot of little events going on in the background already, and I was starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed because I hadn't planned anything for these events. I started looking into planning certain things for those events and things that I would look forward to. So, for example, I have been thinking heavily about my summer TBR list. So I have curated myself a summer TBR list, which I won't share fully with you today, but I bought myself a new book and I have a couple more coming. I know I keep saying I'm going to stop buying books, but I just think it's an addiction worth having, to be honest. But it does mean that I have something to look forward to. Not only do I have a little package coming in the post this weekend to look forward to, I also have some content to make which I am extremely looking forward to, because sharing books with you guys is just like a happy thing for me to do, because I get so much joy out of a book, whether it's the little romance book that I've been reading recently, or if it's a bit more of a classic or something that is completely new to me. I get joy out of it. So making that content, including what I will be reading in the summer, is something that I'm really looking forward to doing. I've thought long and hard about what I will be reading this summer, and I have come up with a good list of, I think it's 6 books. 6 books, potentially more, that will be on my summer to be read list. One of them being a Regency romance. I don't think, other than like the obvious classics, I don't think it's a genre I've really touched on before. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this one. But that's, again, something to look forward to. I'm also trying to arrange a day with family soon, where I have compiled a whole load of things that we could potentially do for the day. I'm about to send it over to my sister-in-law to see what her and her family think, because we want to celebrate our husband's 40th birthday. For those of you who don't know, my husband is a twin, so we try and do something together-ish near their birthdays so that they can celebrate it together, as well as doing our own separate thing. this organisation is kind of getting ready for that. I'm not giving any surprises away on here because I know Rob watches my videos, or at least sometimes he watches videos, so I don't want to give anything away, but there will be a birthday vlog. There will be a very special 40th birthday vlog where I share everything that I've planned and everything that we're doing. We're actually away on his birthday as well, but these are all things that I am majorly looking forward to, and it's nice to have that plan in your head because then you're not just thinking about the here and now and everything's going wrong right now. Something to look forward to is imperative, even if it's just taking yourself to a coffee shop and having your favourite drink, even if it is jumping in your car and go visiting someone that you haven't seen in a while, or going to your favourite park and taking a walk there, or treating yourself to something a little bit more extravagant, afternoon tea out, whatever takes your fancy and whatever your budget allows. Plan something for the future that is something you will look forward to, because your brain will thank you. Because then when you're having a bad day, you can be like, oh, don't worry, it's just a bad day, we've got X, Y, and Z to look forward to. I think it's a really nice idea just to keep your spirits a little bit higher in that way. I hope you can make use of my 4 things to do when you're feeling blue. I hope they help you. They do help me when I'm feeling that way out and I'm having a rough day or a rough week or whatever's going on. This week has been a bit of a rocky one. We've had mishaps with mood for myself. We have had crazy moments at my grandma's house. I have had issues with school again, and we are still here and we're still thriving through all of it, and we are living hopefully in the moment a little bit more and using our little tools that I have suggested today to keep our spirits a little bit higher. And I'm looking at Dinah, she's looking at me as though she needs it. She needs petting. Hang on, let me just manoeuvre you so you can see her a little bit better. She's there. She's always here when I'm doing any kind of filming upstairs. She's right by my side, fussing and making sure that I give her plenty of strokes and loves. Yeah, so this week's been a bit of a crazy mixed bag. I'll start with the 40-minute wait on my grandma's doorstep to get in yesterday morning. That was delightful. So I went, as usual, as I do every morning, to my grandma's to make sure she's alright, up for the day, dressed and had a breakfast and all that kind of stuff. And I got there yesterday morning and I put my key in the back of the door, tried to open it, and she'd left her key on the inside of the door. That was problematic. So I called the doorbell, I rang the house phone, I knocked on windows, I tried the back door, which was also exactly the same. I have a key for the back door, but the other set of keys was in the back door, so I couldn't get in that door either. 40 minutes it took me to wake my grandma up. And the worst bit about it was, I could hear her in bed, so I knew she was okay. I could hear her coughing and spluttering and rolling around in a bed. And I don't know whether she was just in a deep sleep or whatever was going on, but 40 minutes sat on the doorstep. I managed to do all the shopping, so just as she was opening the door, the shopping arrived, and thank goodness it arrived when I was already in the house and not sat on the doorstep. Because I can't imagine the delivery guy would have wanted to leave the shopping with me on the doorstep if it wasn't going in the house, because that just looks like you're going to nick off with a bunch of shopping, doesn't it? Anyway, I wasn't nicking off with a bunch of shopping, I was there to put it away. We also had a moment of toast ghost yesterday as well. Was that yesterday? It was either yesterday or Wednesday. One of the mornings I've been in this week, I just find a random bit of toast in the kitchen, sat next to the pot of butter, Flora. The knife is sat nice, patiently waiting next to the box of Flora. But it hasn't been buttered and the toast is stone cold and it's been there all night or since the day before. So we call this toast ghost, and toast ghost happens every so often. It's not something that happens every week, but when I tell the kids find it absolutely hilarious. So toast ghost is a highlight, and it always makes me smile when I see that my grandma's done this, because the kids just think it's hilarious. They're like, oh my god, the toast ghost has been, he's left her more toast, and he's even branching out to marmalade. That's what Delilah was saying to me the other day. So she was having a really good giggle when I told her about it. And we were talking about one of her neighbours a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I've mentioned this already on another vlog, but a couple of weeks ago we caught one of the neighbours like going into the recycling bin and pulling out old newspapers. And I couldn't work out why. So like this happened 2 or 3 days in a row. So I would tell Delilah about it, because when she's in bed I like to over dramatise what's going on in Grandma's day and make her smile with the little trials and tribulations we have there. So I was telling Delilah about it, and she came up with a nickname for this person, and it's hilarious, but we've not seen him since that point. So my grandma's actually been saving newspapers for him, and she can't remember the reason why, but we've got a stack of newspapers by her sofa that's nearly as tall as a sofa, and he hasn't been back for another one. Yet maybe a week and a half ago he was raiding the bins for newspapers. So anyone need any spare newspapers, we've got them. You've got to make light of little situations like this, because it's weird and it's wonderful, and it just brightens up your day if you think about them in a certain way. If you can think about something in a childlike way, it's guaranteed to put a smile on your face. Like, think about how your children would react to something like that and what they would think it meant. Or Delilah comes up with entire backstories for things. So this man was taking papers out of the bin for a certain reason, and she thought it was so funny. And it's somewhat really simple, and he'll have just been using it for packing or whatever else. But yeah, she finds it hilarious. So the bin man hasn't been back, but Toast Ghost does come back regularly. So she will find that very funny. Or she did find that very funny the other day. And she also found that Mummy being stuck on the doorstep for 40 minutes was also hilarious. So hopefully that cheered her little day up yesterday, because she had a rough day at school. We have had bullying at school again. Hopefully it was just an isolated incident, but we'll soon find out today. Because if it isn't, I am probably going to approach the parents over it, because I don't believe school tells the parents of the other child. So I was advised that something had happened, although when I was told about it, it was downplayed. So it wasn't a matter of saying Delilah's been bullied today, it was Delilah's been bumped in the playground today. And I'm like, you know, when you get your parent head straight on and kind of decode that message instantly. I'm like, right, I'm listening, but I can't wait to hear what Delilah says about this. So Delilah told me the whole tale, and it turns out that one of the boys that I'd been bullying before is targeted her for the full day, like verbally targeted her and also physically targeted her, trying to shove her over and trying to push people into her. He rammed her into a door, and yeah, so you can probably feel my frustration. Is it worth directly going to a parent and saying, do you have any clue what your boy has done to my girl? Because I would be mortified, but I wouldn't know, because school don't tell. So how would you as a parent be able to correct that behaviour if the school don't tell you about it and you're relying on your child? And we all know kids don't tell you the full day. Mine certainly don't. And Delilah doesn't. She walks out of school and she's forgotten everything unless it's been profoundly difficult for her. And then we hear all about it for like 6 hours straight. But how would you know? We're relying on these other adults to care for our children, which they swear blind they do, and that they've got education at the forefront of all their thinking and a right to safe education, when they're being bullied and nothing's been done about it. So we've given them the benefit of the doubt yesterday. we'll see what happens today. But if it continues, I will be directly going to this child's parent and I'll be saying, do you know what your child's done? Has school told you about it? And then that'll be another argument with school, because they are still refusing to grant us leave of absence for our holiday. I have asked for leave of absence on the ground of it being essential for a bit of a reset due to scent issues and being able to go away when it's a little bit quieter, so there's not overwhelm or there isn't any, nothing's too busy basically, because we are going a week outside the holidays. And they've refused point blank, but everything that I have asked for SEN related needs has been either highly delayed or ignored. So tell me how that is okay to start with. I could rant forever and I'm trying not to rant too much, but school is like one of my pet peeves. We just need to do something drastic and drag them both out of school and go live in the Outer Hebrides or something. I think that might be a good option. At least then we won't be stuck in a really bad school system run by people who do not care and certainly don't care about their needs or the safety of children that they're caring for, or even the education that the children in their care are receiving. Because despite flagging the reading, this school is still holding Delilah back. We've been through this before and I feel like I would be blue in the face if I were to explain it all again in detail. But basically, they have kept Delilah reading at the same level as she was reading at, like, midway through last year, academically speaking. And they won't move her forwards because she's not passing the benchmark. Now, she's not passing the benchmark because she doesn't read fast enough, because her focus isn't all that. She's a girl with autism and ADHD, and to pass the reading benchmark to get to the next level, she needs to be able to read at a certain pace. So I believe it's about 120 words per minute. So she's got, or is it 2 minutes? I don't know. There is a combination. She needs to read so many minutes in a fixed period of time to be able to pass this reading benchmark. And she falls short, not because she can't read, because she reads it perfectly well. Like, they've sent me examples home of previous benchmarks. And the only reason she's not getting through it quick enough is because her attention is elsewhere. But that's part of ADHD, so how do you fix it so she can continue learning to read without her reading growth being stunted because of ADHD? Because the school is not supporting her in her SEN struggles, in my opinion, as far as that's concerned. They're refusing to move her up. She's read all the books on the level that they've kept her at. Every single book that they've got in that band, she has read. Every single book in the band above that band has been read. We have read them all. We have read every single book. And I have her read pretty much every single night to me. But she's not progressing in school, and she's not progressing by level. So now she's sat with the kids who don't want to read, who struggle to read, who are finding school an absolute waste of time at the age of 8 and 9. Ask me where they get that from. Got an opinion on that as well. But she feels so disheartened by it all. And it's a constant fight. I have been in school and had this conversation with the SEN. I've had it with class teachers, and don't get me wrong, I am fully supportive of her class teacher, and there's only so much she can do personally. And she totally supports what I'm saying, and she understands where I'm coming from, but their reading scheme is so inflexible that they are not willing to push Delilah to the next level because she can't pass a bench test because of her focus. So that to me is not reasonable adjustment. There's so many things wrong with society. There's so many things wrong with reading schemes for children and ADHD and all the rest of it, these reading schemes will probably work brilliantly for neurotypical kids who can focus when they're concentrating and they can read at speed. But how does a kid with ADHD pass that benchmark when they can't focus? Because when they're doing the benchmark, they're sitting them outside a noisy sports hall or sitting them in a corridor where people are walking past all the time. It's like fighting a losing battle with this school and reading. And other than trying to push more work on her when she's out so we get her to pass that test, which is unfair in my opinion, she shouldn't have to do any work when she gets outside school. It's like your work. Unless you are self-employed, unless you are running your own business, or yeah, that's the only excuse I can give you. Running your own business, you should have a break when you leave work. If you work in an office or wherever, when you leave work, you need to be able to go to your home, to the place where you rest, and you should be able to rest and play, because that is work-life balance. I do not want to shove onto my child the impression that I expect her to work when she gets home, when that's supposed to be her free time, because otherwise, when does she get to relax? When does she get to rest? When does she get to play if all we are going to do is push more and more work onto her when they're not helping her in the hours that they do have at school? They've got her for 6 hours a day. And despite me flagging this at the start of the academic year, we are still exactly in the same place. I think it's going to end up being another meeting with the head teacher and the Senko and everything else. It's going to have to be, innit? I've got to put like serious legal mum head on. I'm going to have to do some more legal research and maybe even take some legal advice. We'll see on that. Anyway, I have been ranting for nearly 20 minutes about something that I didn't even intend to rant about. I'm just kind of just emptying my head about it. So this might not even get out there. But if it does, thank you for bearing with me and listening to my little rant about my disputes with school and Delilah's struggles and my grandma's crazy behaviour, including, which I haven't told you, about Pantless Wednesday, but that's a tale for another day. Right now, I'm going to go because it's 2:30 and I have forgotten totally to eat any lunch or have a drink today, so I'm going to go do that. And I'm going to finish this vlog up. Hopefully you'll enjoy my little clips of what I've been doing this week, and hopefully my 4 tips for feeling blue help you out somewhat, or at least reframe things for you to think about on how you would deal with a low mood. If you've got any other suggestions for getting out of a bit of a funk, leave the comment below and please tell me all about it. I'd be really interested to see what you do and how you pull yourself out of that mood, because as you can tell, I've got a lot going on and I do have days like that. And at the moment, they're kind of like all over the place. Some days I'm perfectly fine, like today I've woke up, I've got a bit of a spring in my step, I've got a lot of energy, but other days I am waking up and things are a drag. It's hard to get out of bed, it's hard to put effort into getting the kids ready, it's hard to make breakfast, it's hard to make packed lunches, it's literally hard to do everything. So if you've got any tips, I will gladly take them on board. But for now, my loves, I hope you have an incredible week and that you are not feeling blue. But if you are, take care of yourself. And from me and Dinah, we will see you shortly in the next one. Bye, guys.